Good evening, and welcome to the Positional Sports Talk Show Post. We're streaming live on Facebook, Twitch, and our Positional Sports Talk Show YouTube channel. We are a sports talk show made for the fans, from the perspective of fans, presented by lifelong sports fans. We will provide our opinions and positions on the hottest topics in sports this evening. My name is Big Reg, and I'm joined by some partners in crime. I got my man J3 in the building. What's going on, J3? How you feeling?
Feeling good. What's going on, everybody? Let's get it in.
We got Sense in the building. What's going on, brother Sense? How you doing?
Once again, it's on. Feeling good, feeling great. Good to be here talking sports with y'all once again. Let's go.
We got Ed in the building. What's going on, brother Ed?
Actually, I'm not in the building. I'm in the bat cave. Hello, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. Let's talk some sports, some historic moments we're going to talk about. Let's do this.
Absolutely. And later on in the show, if time permits and things work out, we might get a pop in by Professor J and our man Jay Wills. So tonight, we're going to do our new segment called Quick Hits. We're going to give you a little Major League Baseball playoff preview. Got to talk football, both NCAA and professional football, and do our final post of the evening. So as always, we appreciate you tuning in. Please sit back, relax, enjoy post on the Positional Sports Talk Show channel. So fellas, the NBA reached 95+% vaccination rate. But as of yesterday, a couple of Nets still are unvaccinated, and that's a problem, especially for your man Kyrie Irving. The NBA and the NBA PA have agreed that for every game missed, including preseason games, you'll get deducted basically 1/92nd of your salary, where you can't play because of COVID mandates. The Nets returned back to New York because they had the press conference. They actually had the training camp in Cali. They returned back to New York, had their first practice in New York. Kyrie can't even go into the building. Now, I'm sure y'all saw that the Golden State Warriors issue got fixed because Andrew Wiggins basically said it's either play and get paid or don't play.
Yeah.
There was no in between, so he got the Johnson & Johnson one shot. But I mean, it's interesting. You got basically less than 20 players now that aren't vaccinated. When you got over 450 guys on NBA rosters, come on. What you last 20 holding out for? If it's that much of a conviction to you, just say you're not playing basketball.
Yeah, it's pride.
You know, that Kyrie situation, I don't know how it hasn't come to a head yet, because if it's not the vaccination, it's an injury. If it's not an injury, it's an issue off the court. And I don't understand how the leadership of that team, namely Durant and James Harden, I don't understand how they don't pull him aside or pull management aside and say, look, we can't continue like this, because you're not reliable on the court because of injury. You always have something to say that that causes headlines that's not basketball, and that's okay. You can actually have an opinion about life and things that have nothing to do with your sport or your how you earn a living. But when it starts becoming a distraction, it needs to be curtailed. And I just don't understand how they continue to let this happen. And it's a pattern. It just didn't happen in New York. It happened in Boston.
I was just about to say that the writing was on the wall in Boston.
So, hey, and I believe the Nets, should they stay healthy, they have legitimate championship aspirations, and they are no doubt one of the top 1, 2, or 3 teams in the NBA. And that's with Kyrie or not, but they just have. I think that they're going to have to say something to this dude. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how to resolve it, but they got to fix it.
He's being protected by KD. Because when rumors was floating around that they was thinking about, looking into trades, KD said, "No, he can't trade him." And then Kyrie doubled down and said, if you trade me, I'm just going to retire.
Yeah, he's just kind of like he's
So-
walking around full of himself right now, if
So-
you ask me. And it's like I agree with you, Ed. Like it's either you know what or get off the pot. Like you got to do something with Kyrie at this point. Like kind of like break reeling him.
Yeah, so they just stuck. They don't want to piss off KD, and they got to deal with this headache. Let's move on to the other quick hit. And man, this is just sickening. The National Women's Soccer League commissioner and legal counsel both had to resign this past weekend because of their mishandling of a coach, Paul Riley, who had been had reports filed on him for 10 years and was allowed to go from team to team to team in the NWSL, sexually harassing and actually sexually exploiting players, and they covered it up.
I had a conversation with my friend recently about this particular incident, and it actually expanded not only with women's soccer but women's sports in general.
Absolutely.
Particularly like with the gymnastics mess that was going on at Michigan State and throughout that organization. And I don't understand how. First of all, I do know how it gets to that point because of the fact that you have this network of coaches and the good old boys in that particular sport, and they cover up and protect one another because it's always been that way. But on the flip side of it, the question was presented to me is, are there any women coaches? Like, where are the women coaches? Now, I'm not saying men can't coach women. One of the probably the most successful coach in basketball history, men or female, is in Connecticut. And you never hear anything come out negative about him. He coaches women. Not to say that men can't coach women, because they can, just like women could coach men if they would give them an opportunity. But I don't understand, where are all the women coaches? Like, why? How can you not? Why do you not have women coaches in place to try to kind of check this or kind of monitor this kind of behavior? And maybe they have had that. I don't know, but it just doesn't seem right.
That's just asking, like, where are the black coaches in the NFL and NCAA?
Mhm.
They're not allowed to get there.
Mhm.
Look how hard their women are fighting just to get head coaching jobs in the NCAA. Then you've got these not so popular women's sports, female sports, where it's like, you should just be happy you got a coach and we allowing you to play, and now we allowing you to have a professional league, and that's how they treat these athletes, which is terrible. And then when something happens, instead of dealing with it and handling it, one of my good friends posted something on Facebook. They, hide the situation, ignore it, and then bury it, and act like it never happened.
And then other times,
years later,
you have players who have been abducted, and no one does anything about it because they're scared to tell somebody. So then that goes along another issue that doesn't get addressed.
But what's crazy about this Paul Riley, two of the women who came out, and the only reason why this came out is because they went to the commissioner of the NWSL, which was a female, and the head of legal was a female, and told him, we will help you get this guy because he did it to both of us, and he's done it to other people. We've heard people talk that he's done it in multiple locations. And they said, oh, we've already investigated. It's been handled. So they had to go to a reporter to put it out in the public to make them do something. So now you've got a women's league that's in jeopardy of possibly collapsing, because it's not only that. Right here in our area, we got to talk about the DC. I can't remember their name. It's not the Storm. No, it's the Washington.
The soccer team?
Yes, the women's Washington soccer team. They had to fire their coach, and their owner and CEO just resigned because of the treatment that was going on at the Spirit. that was going on at the Washington soccer team. It wasn't sexual in nature, but it was constant belittlement, talking about their weight, talking about their sexuality, and all that. Like,
It's all discrimination.
yeah, it's crazy what these men are allowed to get away with because they're protecting that dollar instead of worrying about people.
Jay Wills, what's up, my friend?
What's good, namesake?
Gentlemen, how are you all doing this lovely evening rather?
Long time no see, partner.
Yes, sir. Trying to keep up with you.
Hey, Jay Wills, I don't know if you heard us a few minutes ago talking about the New Jersey Nets and Kyrie Irving, but since you're an assistant head coach of the Nets, what are you guys going to do about Kyrie?
It's been said that the best well, I'm about to mess that saying up, but if you can't show up and play, what's the use of having you on the team? Consistency, availability, that's
availability is availability. I think you're trying to say.
Exactly. I was looking for it, but it wasn't there. It wasn't there. 41 games you're going to miss at home. And what about once you make the playoffs, if New York still doesn't allow you to play inside or be inside the facility, if you haven't been vaccinated, you're actually of no help to the team. You may be a hindrance, and they should probably go ahead and drop you. I don't want to ever say force an individual to make them lose their job, but if you're not going to do what's necessary to keep people safe, because that's what they're trying to make sure they do, you're going to be running up and down the basketball court, you're breathing on one another, you're sweating, you're constantly flying, you're in airports, so that means you're consistently putting yourself in some of the places that have some of the highest numbers as far as where people contract COVID. You're avidly in a plane. You're going to be inside these huge facilities that's holding 10, 15, 20,000 people. It should be something you would want to do to consistently either keep yourself checked. Either you're going to have to take a bunch of COVID tests, which you're probably going to have to do anyway. So it's best to just go ahead and get vaccinated at the end of the day. But as far as the Nets organization, they got a decision they got to make. That man is going to sit out 41 games. He already is liable to take many vacations throughout the season, birthdays, bar mitzvahs, anything the brother.
Indigenous Peoples Day, since he's been honored by a tribe.
But the thing is, he can't even practice. He can't go in the gym to practice.
And NBA don't practice that much anyway. So if you can't practice at home, like that's real talk. During the season, they're doing the bulk of their practices right now. During the season, when they're ripping and running, traveling up and down the highway, all over the airport, they don't have as many opportunities to practice. They usually practice a little bit if they can get one in on game day, whether they're away or at home. So you're already making limited what's already limited. Kyrie's going to have to make a serious decision, or he's going to be averaging as many points as I am for the Nets when he plays at home.
Well, let him tell it. He coach himself anyway. So
yeah,
he talking like he ready to retire if they don't bring him on. He keep talking like that. You keep talking a certain way, you end up getting what you want.
That's true. That's true.
And the old adage in sports is, if you're thinking about retirement and you're talking about retiring, you already retired. You just ain't put your papers in. So just put them out as misery and let everybody move on. But speaking of people putting up points, the WNBA semifinals have been hot, fellas. Both lower seeds, number 6 seed Chicago Sky has a 2-1 lead over the number 1 seed Connecticut Sun, and the number 5 seed Phoenix Mercury have a 2-1 lead over the number 2 seed Las Vegas Aces. Game 4 is Wednesday, 8 and 10. Check it out. Both Chicago, led by the great Candace Parker, is going to look to close out Connecticut, and Phoenix Suns with the GOAT, Diana Taurasi. They looking to put Las Vegas, tell them bye-bye, and get to another final. So check them out. For you fight fans, we hope it happens. I'll believe it when they're in the ring touching gloves, but supposed to be this Saturday, October 9th, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 3. If it happens, can we have another heavyweight title upset? Can Wilder, with the new trainer, the developed boxing tactics, can he actually catch Fury and knock him out? Because he almost knocked him out in the first one.
Are they gonna check Fury's gloves?
Right.
Oh, there you go with that. There you go with that conspiracy stuff.
Is Deontay Wilder going to wear 185 pounds clean?
Yeah, come on. That's cut down with that.
But I believe Deontay Wilder absolutely has the ability to win the fight.
Yes.
For what it's worth. They both do. But as far as Deontay Wilder is concerned, he's also always had knockout power. Mm-hmm. If he can improve upon his boxing, which he clearly was outclassed the last fight, the first two, if you ask me. So if he can put it all together and set him up properly and get that right punch in at the right time, then yes, absolutely, it's possible.
He gotta stop trying to get that one power punch and just box him. That's what he need to do. He needs to box and take him out that way.
Right.
I think Wilder. I think this could be a seminal moment in his career, because that last fight, I think he was a little too Hollywood, and Fury is used to the chaos. He's used to the theatrics of it all. I mean, he's a gypsy. So his whole life, I mean, a real life gypsy. So his whole life is a little messy, so to speak. He's used to, the flair and all that. But Deontay, he got to leave all that Hollywood and being escorted into the ring by the rapper. What's the brother's name? But anyway, he just needs to leave all that stuff alone. Mm-hmm. Possibly keep, I don't want to talk about anybody's spouse, but probably say, hey, honey, I got to go on a business trip, and just cut out all the noise and get back to business. And we'll know, like you said, Jay Wills, we'll know when he walks into that ring. I'll know by just staring at his whole makeup, his whole body language. Because that last fight, when he came in with all that mess,
yeah,
Fury was like,
clown show. It was a clown show.
It was a clown show, J3. You're right. It was a clown show. So
that's what happens when you take a country boy that's from Tuscaloosa, give him millions and millions of dollars, and he got used to that lifestyle and stopped doing what got him that money. So
you got full and instead of being hungry.
Yeah. Last but not least, fellas, we got to spend a couple of minutes real quick. First, saying congrats to our man Bubba Wallace on his historic win.
Good job, Bubba.
Bubba became the second. I don't like this title, but since he's biracial, I'll use it. Black driver to win a NASCAR Cup Series, joining Mr. Wendell Scott, who won his race 58 years ago in 1973. And when Wendell Scott won it, they didn't actually declare him the winner. He wasn't declared the winner until almost 2 years later. Because they didn't want this black man winning this race. So they actually ran the race an extra lap and awarded it to another driver. And his family didn't get the trophy from that win until last year.
Woo! Racism at its best.
Our country.
Yes,
and he didn't get the $10,000 prize check until like 3-4 years after the win. So that's how they do it. So this Bubba Wallace thing was huge. Yeah, it was a rain shortened race and all that, but it was huge, not only for the culture, but also we got to give props to 2311 Racing. Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, their first win as owners. So I mean that's big stuff. So what y'all got to say about our man Bubba?
And just blazing the trail, literally. And just continue to push on, man. I'm definitely proud of you.
But NASCAR is a funny sport though, because it's like basically the driver is one part of it. But if you don't have that support of that team behind you, you really can't do it alone.
And the top equipment, because if you got trash equipment, even
pit
if
crew.
you got the support, you're
that
done.
pit crew.
But Denny Hamlin, did you mention Denny Hamlin and Jordan's team? Denny Hamlin is a well-established star in NASCAR who's has transitioned into ownership, and Michael Jordan has the resources to support that. You know, where he may lack as far as the mechanics and the maybe the politics of racing. Denny Hamlin's can kind of guide him through that, and then make sure they have the proper equipment and the top-notch crew. You know, because with NASCAR, you got to have all those components in addition to the driver who could, you know, who has that nerve and that, you know, to drive that vehicle. But hey, hats off to him, man. You know, and you know, we've criticized Michael Jordan as the owner and other in the NBA because he's yet to really experience the success that he's personally had on the court as a player. But hey, you got to give it to him, man. He whatever he's done, he's figured it out. Say, hey, I got the right people in the spots, you know, maybe because he really doesn't know that much or has been exposed that much to NASCAR. Maybe he has you know, he can take the hands-off approach. Yeah, and maybe that might be better for him. But hey, good job, Bubba. And he was in Talladega. Yes.
Yeah, that is even more ironic because remember, Talladega was the spot with the noose.
Yes. Yes.
And had outside while the race was being run, had a convoy of trucks with Confederate flags driving around.
Well, they're still doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're still doing that.
So
I like to say I also love the fact that Bubba Wallace is also taking time out of his schedule to do a lot of these top tier Black athlete podcast interviews. He's kind of bridging that gap. You know, unfortunately, a lot of times within the Black community, you'll have individuals who say, well, you're not acting Black enough, or the sport you play is not primarily a sport that you kind of find in a lot of underprivileged Black communities. So when he takes the time out to go on these podcasts with these premier football athletes, these premier NBA athletes, and just share his story and just open up and have regular conversation, I think it brings down that gap. One, it exposes a lot of people in our community to the NASCAR sport.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know a lot about it. We really don't. If you talk to most people, that Bubba Shrimp, you know, souffle, that's the only thing they know about with Bubba. So I thank him for taking the time out and the mantle and showing everybody that Black excellence can happen in many different ways. And I'm very proud of it together.
And can I just add one little quick thing real quick? As far as that is concerned, it also is a model, and it shows you how when you own something, you can gain access to something. And by, you know, you have the proper ownership in place, and he put the proper driver in place. He gave him an opportunity. He just happened to be African American, but he still gave him the opportunity, and now Bubba's running with it. So congratulations.
Yeah. All right, fellas, let's talk about this Major League Baseball playoff race. The wild card games begin. First of all, in the American League, the Yankees and the Red Sox had to win. Both of them had to win games on Sundays, or we could have had mass chaos. There could have been a four-way tie for the wild cards, but luckily they both came through. So now we got the matchup, at least on the East Coast, and as far as most big-time baseball people today, it's the biggest matchup you can get. You got the Yankees, Boston Red Sox, winner take all, one game tonight, 8 p.m. You got the richest man in baseball, Garrett Cole, taking the mound for the Yankees, taking on Nathan Eovaldi for the Red Sox. So, hey, who you think gonna win tonight? And does it even matter? Because while nobody's talking about it, the Tampa Bay Rays have been dogs for 2 years, and they've been the best team in the American League all season.
I roll with Cole.
Yeah, I say Yanks too. I give him
I roll with Cole.
Probably the chance of, you know, advancing.
Where's this game being played, in the Bronx or in Boston?
The game is being played in Boston, I believe.
I'll still take Cole. Cole's been in a World Series before. I'll take Cole.
I mean, that's what they gave him the $300+ million for. This is supposed to be what you're supposed to be here for.
They're gonna need that big bat from Judge too.
But he can't use that foreign substance on that ball tonight. So
and over in the National League, San Francisco Giants held off them Dodgers. The two best teams in baseball just happen to be in the same division. So unfortunately, the Dodgers get the unenviable task of having to face the hottest team in baseball, the St. Louis Cardinals. And if y'all listen to the show, we mentioned this probably a month ago that the St. Louis Cardinals was that organization. They're just solid, they're good, and if they get into the playoffs, they're a problem. And Ed gave us prediction last week. What'd you tell us, Ed?
I said somebody gonna have to play the Dodgers. The Cardinals, and they're gonna lose. I'm telling you, right? I've seen it. Like I got all the confidence in Mad Max. I'm sure a lot of our listeners, in the DMV area, know what Mad Max is capable of. But it's them Cardinals, man. I've seen it before. They get into the playoffs out of nowhere. They hovering around 500. Next thing you know, they world champions.
And they got the 40-year-old Adam Wainwright taking the mound. This was supposed to be a 1-year deal, his last thing. That man just got a new 1-year extension for more than twice what he got last year. So this is going to be interesting. I don't envy the Dodgers. And then the winner has to deal with the Giants. So again, tough road.
Come on, Dodgers.
In the other series, once the wild card's over, Chicago White Sox take on the Houston Astros in the American League. And in the National League, you got the Atlanta Braves taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. So got some good baseball coming up, folks. This is the time when a lot of people who aren't diehard baseball fans get to, check in and pay attention. Let's talk about college football.
Let's.
I've noticed one thing from last week. There are two dominant teams, but both of them have just one dominant side of the ball. And the other side is okay, maybe even good, but needs improvements. Alabama's offense, considering they lost Heisman Trophy winner, wide receiver, number 11 pick quarterback, a top 10 pick wide receiver, a number 1 first round pick running back, a first round pick tackle, a should have been first round pick center, but he hurt his knee. And they still loaded. So Alabama, what they did to Lane Kiffin and them good old boys from Ole Miss wasn't pretty. I mean, the final score was 42-21. Trust me, it wasn't that close.
No. Yeah, they let up.
And what Georgia has on defense is ridiculous. Georgia took number 8 Arkansas to the woodshed. 37-0? 0?
And it could have been worse, Big Red. Yeah. I think because the coach of Arkansas was a former offensive line coach for Kirby.
Right. So he went embarrassed.
Yeah, I think he took it easy on him. He called off the dogs, literally.
Arkansas was one of the top-rated offenses in the country. Georgia held them 162 yards total offense.
Shut them down.
Hey, Georgia's defense, I was kind of apprehensive of it because they played Clemson to a 10-7 game. And really that could have went either way. A pick six was the difference of the game. But I was kind of still holding off on the fence with the Georgia defense, although I have every confidence in the world in Kirby Smart's ability, the head Georgia head coach, to coach defense. And he knows, like I said, he gets them big boys. I mean, he knows how to build a defense and he knows how to coach a defense. But I was apprehensive. But this game right here, it's only one game, but them boys,
Georgia's for real.
They're for real. That defense is for real. Now the offense.
The offense got some major issues. Now they'll say they're waiting for their quarterback to come back, but wasn't like he's such crazy. So that's the issue in college football. The two most dominant teams in college football both have flaws, and it seems like their flaws line up against each other. So that's if they, it looks like they're going to end up meeting in the SEC championship again. That's going to be a hell of a match, strength against strength. Now we got to talk about some teams that had some.
You must be talking about the Terps.
Yeah, blackout. You can't call out. You can't call for a blackout and just get your head handed to you.
Oh, they got blacked out.
You got blacked out.
Oh, they got blacked out.
You got your legs cut off.
I mean,
Lord.
First and foremost, you call for a blackout, and a third of the crowd was Iowa fans. That can't happen. That's the first thing that can't happen. Then you can't get crushed 51-14. And Talia Tagovailoa had a terrible night, ended up throwing 5 interceptions. I mean, so after the third one, it was over. But, I mean, come on, Maryland. We know you building. I'm a Loxley fan, but come on. Y'all can't let somebody come in your house and do that to you. But they say that's like –
and I was really surprised. I did not – so, I did not know that Iowa even had the ability to do that to a
do that, right. I thought
I was totally shocked.
Yeah,
now, as far as the interceptions are concerned, I think after the second one, it just went downhill. I think the confidence of the entire team, particularly the quarterback, I just think that it went into the gutter, so to speak. But I in Maryland's schedule, if you look at it, it doesn't get any easier.
Oh yeah, it gets ugly.
And again, I'm a fan. I want Maryland to be good, but
they play Ohio State next.
Yeah, Ohio State. Then they got Michigan State. Then they got Michigan. Then they got Penn. Yeah, it's ugly. They in the wrong division in the Big Ten.
Yeah,
it is what it is. Talking about teams that spit the bit. Number 3, Oregon. Let Stanford come into their place and beat them 31-24. And not only did Oregon lose, Arizona State beat the crap out of UCLA. So the two teams just 2 weeks ago we were saying maybe the Pac-12 might be for real. I was wrong. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I was trying to give them some props, give them a little chance of maybe making the playoffs, but yeah, they pretty much done now. And the Oregon loss hurts Ohio State because Oregon went into Ohio State and beat them early in the year, so that's an issue.
But the only thing with Ohio State, if Ohio State runs the table, they still have to play Michigan State. They still have to play Michigan. They still have to play Iowa. So and Penn State. So they can control their own destiny. Now, I don't know if that'll be enough to get in because I still do believe 2 SEC. If Georgia and Alabama go into that SEC championship undefeated, it doesn't make a difference who wins that game. They'll both be in the playoffs, in my opinion. So I think 2 teams will get in that have one loss. I'm sorry, but who that other team is besides either the SEC championship loser will be, I don't know where that's going to come from. But I think Ohio State still has a chance.
Well, one team we don't have to worry about this year is unfortunately the Professors fighting Irish. Their 2-game rough stretch. Cincinnati is for real, fellas, and Cincinnati got a young quarterback, Desmond Ridder, who's balling. But they went into Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame 24-13. So if there's going to be a non-Power 5 team to make it, because Cincinnati doesn't pay anybody else the rest of the season, so they shouldn't lose again unless they start reading the clippings. They're going to be undefeated and most likely a top 5 team. So they're going to have a legit reason to say, hey, look at us. We went to Notre Dame and beat Notre Dame, so we'll see. Penn State doing what they do. Oklahoma does what they do, even though they had a little tough time with Kansas State. Got to give a shout out to Michigan. Hey, the coach is on the hot seat, had to take a pay cut. He got them balling this year. We'll see real soon how good they are, because I don't think Wisconsin was as good as people thought they were going to be this year.
They were great.
But they beat Wisconsin down 38-17. And your boy told y'all that Kentucky might get Florida.
They
Well,
did.
got 'em.
It's a good game too.
Yeah. So some games to look forward to this weekend. It's not a lot, but it's some interesting games. Stanford, the Giant Killers. Stanford had knocked off two big teams. They knocked off UCLA and they knocked off Oregon. Stanford goes to visit number 22 Arizona State Friday. So if you ain't got any plans Friday, 10:30 p.m. ESPN, check them out. You got the Red River rivalry to start Saturday, Oklahoma at Texas, 12 p.m. You also got Arkansas at Ole Miss at 12 p.m. ABC and ESPN. Georgia visits Auburn, 3:30. The big game for the Big Ten. Penn State visits Iowa, 4 o'clock, Fox.
Penn State.
Notre Dame goes to Virginia Tech at night.
That's a
Virginia Tech.
That's
Go
a bad
Virginia Tech.
situation.
Go Virginia
Upset
Tech.
alert for y'all. They going to Vicksburg at night. That's not a good place to be at night.
Mhm.
And then the big night game, Alabama visits Texas A&M, 8 p.m. So any game that y'all really looking forward to seeing this weekend?
Well, obviously the A&M, Bama going to A&M, but I'm good and confident in Bama because they've had that. They got really tested. They know what it feels like as far as going away to a tough environment. They were at the Swamp earlier this year. But the game I'm really curious to see, because I'm looking forward to the aftermath, is LSU visits Kentucky. If LSU loses that game, do not be surprised. You heard it here first, family. Their coach, who won a national championship 2 years ago, may be out.
Yeah.
Because he lost to Auburn.
You think Coach O will stand for out now?
I'm telling you, because it doesn't get any easier after Kentucky. So we'll see. But I'm telling you that might put the first nail in the coffin.
No, that'd be the second nail because they let Auburn come into Death Valley at night.
That's right.
And beat them last week. So if you let Kentucky come in there, or you go to Kentucky and you can't beat Kentucky, now you can't beat Auburn and Kentucky, and you know you can't beat Alabama.
Well, let me ask y'all, who has a shorter leash? Is it the college football head coaches or NFL head coaches? It's college
football coaches in the SEC.
Right.
Okay.
Especially if you're in the Western Division. If you're in the West and you got to coach against Saban, you might get 2 or 3 losses and you got to go.
Wow.
But don't sleep on Kentucky because Kentucky playing some good football.
Pretty good.
Hey. So LSU they better show up.
Yeah, but it's the perception. LSU is not supposed to lose to Kentucky.
I understand.
Except in basketball.
I understand.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Being an SEC coach, if you're gonna do that, make sure you're in the East and stay away from Saban.
Nobody really checking for you.
Yeah, you can say, well, we ain't got to worry about him. We'll play Alabama once every 8-9 years in the crossover. Unless you Tennessee, then you just stuck because that's just a rivalry. And then if we meet them in the SEC championship, so everybody happy because we got to the championship. But other than that, yeah, you short. Speaking of the NFL, though, that's a great segue. We got to talk about the NFL. Man, one thing about the NFL, after 4 weeks, we can start seeing somewhat of what teams are finally looking like since most people don't play in the preseason, all that. So we're starting to get a little bit of idea what teams are. I still think we need another 4 weeks to have a confirmed idea of what they are. But all these hamstring injuries is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, man.
The trainers got to figure out something about what's going on with these hamstrings. And speaking about trainers, did y'all hear the story about the Washington football team?
Yeah.
Their facilities raided Friday because the trainers got a federal case. Yo, the feds don't move until they pretty much got you.
Just when you think you move some paces ahead, here comes some bull that just sends you right back. Like,
Yep.
we
Yep.
can't catch a break to save our lives.
Hey,
Sheesh.
Well, at least it's coming off the back of last season where a lot of bad news got out there. So hopefully this helps clean everything out. I hope they're done, because if they get raided like a group of thugs, they done ran up in Washington.
You getting raided by the feds?
It's
DEA.
ridiculous. It makes us look bad. I'm tired of not only looking bad on the field, but off the field too.
Yeah.
Oh,
You don't want to get raided by the feds.
Yeah. That's the first real major misstep that Ron Rivera has had, because he brought him in, because he brought him from Carolina.
mm-hmm.
So this has been going on for years, because the feds don't just look up something for a year. Feds,
They do their research.
Mhm.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays. But let's get to the actual games.
Mhm.
The biggest games of the week both happen in LA. Both happen in the same stadium, back-to-back days.
So bad.
Arizona Cardinals came to LA, and what they did to the Rams, I don't think anybody saw that.
I didn't.
I mean, I knew they was competitive, but they punked the Rams in their own building.
Yeah.
It happens. They probably got the big head because they thought they were a better team and took them lightly.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. They might have still been on that high.
The thing with the Rams is that their offense was deemed this explosive unit, right? But if you put man to man, if you compare Arizona's offense with LA's offense, I'd rather have the personnel that sits on Arizona's team than the personnel that's on the Rams team. I mean, if you look at it objectively. So the difference is that monster number 99 that plays for the Rams and Ramsey at cornerback. They have legitimate stars, at least two legitimate stars on that defense in the front seven and the back end. Whereas Arizona, they didn't necessarily have that star power, but they went and got it because they have Chandler Jones and they have JJ. JJ's not the JJ Watt of 5 years ago, but he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be. He just needs to be solid, which he is. And then you got these two young linebackers that are basically wrecking havoc because they're interchangeable. They can play safety. They can play high, low. Simmons and that first round pick, I can't remember his name, that they got from
Collins
this year. Collins. So they have
Buda Baker in safety.
At safety. So
yeah,
I'm telling you, Arizona. Well, I said it. I think Kyler's going to win the MVP as long as he stays healthy.
I agree.
And look at the receivers they have. They have at least four, maybe five deep. They've probably about five deep with two legitimate number ones on the team. Two legitimate ones.
Yeah. And they getting running from Chase Edmonds. They're actually committing to running the ball a little bit.
I ain't see that coming.
Yeah, so the Cardinals, look, the only problem with the Cardinals, can you really trust that coach?
Oh no.
Because there's nothing in his pedigree to say you can trust him at all.
Coach look good. Yeah. I still don't believe he deserved that job, but
so that's the problem. And then last night, the LA Chargers showed everybody we the top dogs in the AFC West. We went to Kansas City and beat Kansas City in Arrowhead, and we were supposed to have a home game against the Raiders, but the Raiders fans took over 75% of the building, so we had to play an away game in our own home stadium, and we beat them to give them their first loss. So the Chargers legit, and Miami taking Tua over Justin Herbert. It's looking so bad now because Justin Herbert is already playing like a top 10 quarterback, and he's just on his
third year, right?
No, second year. He's only on his seventh. His 18th start.
But I will say this: I have to jump in and defend Tua. I still have to defend him, even though even though it would appear that Justin Herbert is way further along. But again, Tua didn't have the benefit of rehabbing. Of playing a year. He was basically doing nothing but rehabbing for 1 year. Also, you have to understand that Mike Williams is a legitimate number one. He was a first-round draft pick that had a couple injury problems early in his career. Now he's starting to blossom into the first-round pick pedigree that he is. And then Keenan Allen has been a star for 10 years now that no one talks about. So the his supporting cast is a little better than Tua was exposed to right as we speak. But again, I'm not saying Herbert's not better, because right now he is better. But I'm just saying that you got to kind of look at the entirety of the picture. I think Miami wishes if they had it over again, they probably would make a different choice because of the X factors as far as what Tua had to go through just to get healthy again. Plus, remember, Justin Herbert was a 4-year starter at Oregon, and Tua didn't really have the benefit of starting 4 years. He started, 2?
A year and a half.
Yeah, a year and a half. So let's give it a little time. But again, Herbert is a beast. He's a beast.
And let's not sleep on Eckler either. That dude, goodness.
Austin Eckler. Yeah, somebody tried to make a run and, try to win a game last night with their man Austin Eckler. He doing work. He doing work. And shout out to that young first-year coach. Not only is he proven he's a hell of a coach, period, but if you look at what the Rams defense is doing now without him, and now what his defense is doing, and if their safety stays healthy in San Diego with that offense, San Diego going to be a problem. They're going to be right there to the end with Kansas City.
So what's the Raiders' problem?
The Raiders are a good team.
Yeah, they lost.
Raiders are a good
I
team.
think Carr distributes it it's like he's always looking for Waller instead of like spreading the ball around to his other receivers.
Nah, because he throws the rugs.
I think they were flat. I think the Raiders came in a little flat, and they didn't believe that Herbert could dice them up the way Herbert did.
They had a chance in the third quarter, and then
it was a good game.
Yeah.
Plus, their offensive line, the Raiders' offensive line left a lot to be desired last night too.
Yeah. So the Washington football team had a barn burner with the Falcons, which is a problem.
That's a damn
for two
shame.
reasons.
You got to suffer to play Atlanta, really?
And how is Atlanta scoring 30 points against you?
Yeah, you making Matty Ice look like
I'm gonna tell you how they scoring 30 points is because the daggone cornerbacks don't play their position, and the safeties don't even know where the back. How you gonna let them throw over top of you, bro? Come on, man. Really? Really?
Call them toast.
What was supposed to be the strength of the team is the biggest liability right now. What was supposed to be the liability has become the strength. Under Taylor Heineke, I got to give him his props. He's a little unorthodox, and he puts some balls in some bad positions, but he balls.
Yeah,
and he doesn't give up. He finds a way to win the game. He
absolutely.
If we down by 7 and we got 2 minutes left, I have faith in Taylor Heineke, winning the game.
Yeah. And Terry McLaurin is a monster.
Because some of them throws were terrible, but he made it look good.
He's a monster. If he was on a primetime team, he'd be getting all the love. He's a monster.
Yep.
And lastly on this game, that last play for McKissick, jumping from the 4-yard line, getting into the end zone. That's a young offense with a bunch of young players that are, look, we're going to try to win this no matter what. Hey, we're supposed to be the defensive team, but we're going to try to win it. So it looks good, but they still got a long way to go.
Atlanta, come on, man.
Atlanta.
Got to give props. We just talked about Washington, so we're going to give a little equal time.
To Eagles?
How about them Cowboys?
They won.
We got to get the props. Dak Prescott is balling out of control. And for the last 2 games, after people talked about Zeke, they featured him the game before, and then last week, Zeke was balling. Zeke was balling last week, and Zeke had 143 yards on 20 carries. Zeke was balling. but Dak is in total control of that offense.
Yeah.
I mean, way he's moving it. If you want to press our receivers and keep everything in front of you, okay, I'll just kill you underneath, and then we're gonna run the ball up right up you. And if you decide, okay, you're gonna stop the run, then I'm gonna throw for 400 yards on you. You pick the poison you want, and I'm gonna give it to you. So
what's Carolina's
with that
problem?
said, I was gonna say real quick. With that said, are we gonna consider Dak as an MVP candidate?
Oh,
too?
he's definitely in the conversation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray
come
right
up
now
there.
is number one. I think Dak is probably sitting in number two. Because the only game they lost, Dak balled out.
Mhm.
Dak threw for almost 400 yards
He did.
against Tampa Bay. So we will see. We will see. What other good games?
Well, Giants won.
Yeah, congratulations to the Giants. You got to be
The little people. Yeah.
The New York market. The New
little
York
people.
market got wins. The Giants and the Jets both got victories. Congratulations.
Little people.
The little people.
Congratulations. No big deal.
I like that.
Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill were back at it. I mean, how you let Tyreek Hill
That man is
get you 11 times for 186 yards and 3 T? How does that keep happening? That happens 4 or 5 times a year. You know what he can do.
Mm-hmm.
and he does it with such ease.
Yeah.
Right.
And he clowns you when he does it.
Yes, he does.
Backflips on the football. And so
That boy fast.
yeah,
That's an
He's scared.
understatement.
People are scared. They don't want to. They don't want to get. They know they're going to end up on the ESPN Sports Center highlight out there trying to tackle a darn cheetah. You can't keep
Oh
up.
my gosh! And then you add Gordon. I don't know.
Yeah, you see-
him?
Man,
you see they
come
just
on.
activated him.
Mhm.
So
Stop. Gordon, he gonna be back out of the league by Halloween.
They not
Give-
touching him no more.
Give 3
Ed.
games. Give
Ed,
3
they not
games.
touching him no more.
He's staying out here. You
Ed, he couldn't go, Ed. He couldn't go.
you know the threshold has been lowered, so you know he might be all right for
Give
for
3
until the end
games.
of the season.
That's it.
Yeah,
4
3
5
games.
catches. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And don't sleep on the Cleveland Browns either.
Yes, let's give them their props too. Cleveland's been.
They keep winning, which
oh.
the Cleveland defense is balling.
Well,
They
they
shut
go.
Minnesota down, and Minnesota can play offense.
Mhm.
Well, we'll see this weekend. They play the Chargers.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That'll
gonna
be a good test.
really
Yeah.
good.
That'll be a good test. And we'll see
Yeah.
what Baker Mayfield does
Yeah,
outside of his commercials.
because he was
Right.
trash in that game against Minnesota. The defense and the running game won that game. It wasn't anything Baker did. But talking about this week coming up, I mean, we finally got another good game Thursday. And even though the Thursday games have been close, there's just been some trash the last couple of weeks. We got the Rams at the Seahawks.
Great game.
So this is NFC
Ooh.
West,
That's gonna
and
be
the
rough.
loser gonna be in a bad situation. So that's gonna be a good game. Some of the big
on.
games on Sunday. I like the Packers going to the Bengals. The Bengals quietly are
Burrow's
starting to
nice.
be a decent squad, and they can put up points. So
They
are we
pretty
gonna
good.
get good Aaron, or are we gonna get Aaron and takes a week off?
You're gonna get relaxed, Aaron.
I
RELAX.
think Aaron's trying to prove something, man. I think he's trying to win. Again, if it's left on him, he's gonna do what he need to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's what defense is going to show up for the Packers. That's what you need to be questioning.
I think we have an elimination game in week 5 already. You got the Saints visiting Washington. The loser of that is just pretty much done. Move on to next season. I'm interested in
Already?
seeing the Eagles at the Panthers. Yeah, already.
Already.
Yeah,
Because-
really.
James is about to have a 400-yard game, man. So I bet with that secondary we got.
My defense is going to do me well.
Yeah. So Ed mentioned the Browns at the Chargers already. Can Daniel Jones have 2 good weeks in a row?
No.
Daniel Jones threw for 400 yards in that win.
Danny
Can he do it
Downing.
against the
Danny
Cowboys? Or is
I
that
don't see it.
Cowboys defense?
It depends
I
on
don't
that
see
defense.
Yeah, that
Right.
defense. That
Right.
defense has been improved.
Trayvon Diggs Bruh,
Mhm.
as long as you don't throw it over his head,
Lil J.
Trayvon Diggs is balling. We got
Lil J.
we got another J3 in the building.
Yeah.
Sorry,
We twinning right now. We twinning.
my man is active. He had to get on real quick. Sorry about
Hey.
that.
It's all good.
All
It
good,
is
man.
all good.
Yes, sir.
And then another 4:00 game, 49ers visit the Cardinals.
That's
That's
gonna
going
be
to
a
be
good one.
another
That's
ball
gonna
burner.
be a good one.
Night
What's the
game
predictions,
is
though? Oh, but what's the prediction?
I got the
Y'all
Cardinals.
taking Arizona or you taking 49ers?
Cardinals.
Cardinals.
Right now, the Cardinals are playing the best ball in the NFC.
I'm going with the 49ers.
Maybe in the
What?
league.
Yeah.
You don't even know which quarterback going to play.
Right.
Oh, they already said Garoppolo going to play.
Yeah.
Oh,
For
then
how
you definitely
long?
need to go with the
If he
Cardinals.
plays, for how long?
Hey, we'll see.
Right.
We'll
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
The nightcap, we got the Bills at the Chiefs.
Ooh.
This
Ooh.
might be.
Yeah, that might
I'll
be a
take
good
the
one.
Chiefs. I'll take
This
the
may end up for the number 1 and number 2 seed in the AFC.
I might have to make some buffalo wings for this one.
Buffalo.
And then Monday night, the Colts come in to visit the Ravens. And
That's a good game too.
I'll take
can
the
we put
Ravens.
some respect on Lamar's name?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lamar beat the game last week with his arm.
And yeah, at Mile High.
He beat the week before, but your boy Hollywood dropped 3 touchdowns with his arm. So, and it seems like the wide receivers are getting healthy. So the Ravens are starting to come together. So we got some good football games coming together.
But I do think Denver would have won had Teddy not had a concussion. But that's just my opinion. They didn't, so
Yeah,
hats
but-
off
but-
to the Ravens.
Teddy on offense, the defense got to stop somebody.
Well, man, that's
Yeah,
true.
what's up with Vaughn?
Man, Vaughn old, man.
Wow. Vaughn still collecting that $20 million a year
Yeah.
check.
My body fool.
So you got a full weekend for you. College football, some good games. So you go Thursday night games, Rams, Seahawks. Friday, I gave you a college football thriller to start your Friday off with. Sanford visits Arizona State. Then Saturday, you got college football. Then Sunday and Monday, you got the pros. You're full. And then you got to catch the fight at 10 p.m. on Saturday on pay-per-view. It's a
Force
good
overload.
weekend. And then we got basketball starting in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And the NHL starts next week. So, fellas, it's a beautiful time of the year.
Yes.
On that note, it is time for us to get up out of here. So it's time for our final post. Let's start off with Jay Wills so we can let you get up out of here. What you got for us for our final post, Jay Wills?
I'm excited about all the sports that's coming up, man. It looks to be a powerful week. Continue to stay safe out here. I do work in the funeral industry. We are getting a slight uptick of numbers, so make sure you're keeping your mask on when you're out and about if you can, and just try to protect yourself and your families at all times.
Amen.
Great point. Thank you. J3, you up.
All I want to say is just like Jay Will said, just be safe and see y'all next week.
Sense.
I just want to shout out the NBA for continuing to show love to the ladies. Most recently, my Lakers just hired Shay Parker, I believe her name is, as the assistant coach for the squad. So good move.
10-year vet between WNBA and overseas, getting a chance to be an NBA coach. Good point. Ed, what you got for us?
This is my representation of a white flag.
we left you and BJ alone. We left y'all alone this week. We left y'all alone this week.
This is my white flag, but nevertheless, I'm still a sports fan. I still love my boys, but it's BJ. This is where we at, buddy. This is where we
about
at.
to be the year Haskins for y'all. I better bring Dwayne up in there.
Anyway, everybody stay safe. Good to see you, Jay Wills. See everybody next week.
Yay.
And I'd just like to say, please enjoy this time of year. You've got Major League Baseball playoffs going on. NHL hockey starting, NBA getting ready to start, NCAA, NFL, football, all your major sports are going on at the same time. It's a great time to be a sports fan. So take full advantage of it, enjoy it, but be safe. And if you want to go to arena, make sure you pay for some good seats so you don't have so many people beside you, and mask up. You might want to double mask up. All right. As always, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in and listening. We appreciate your time and opportunity to share our positions on sports with you. Please tune in each and every Tuesday at 7 p.m. for our live show. We're here each and every week. Jay Will, good to see you in the house, my brother.
Man,
J3, the other J3, good to see you, young man. I see you doing your thing. If you can't catch us live, you can always catch our shows. Just search Positional Sports Talk Show. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Facebook page. We always upload the shows there. You can get in contact with us at Positions on SPO1 on Twitter or on our Facebook page. If you like podcasting, we're on all the podcasting platforms. Positions on Sports Talk Show. Just search that and you'll find all the shows for you. We gladly look for you to give us some feedback. Please like and subscribe. The subscription's free, absolutely. And we look to see y'all next week, Thursday, before the football game. Please remember we have our post-fantasy football show, Thursdays, same bat time, same bat channel. Please check them out. They give you some tips to get your fantasy football league, get your team in gear, because you might actually have some players playing this week with those good teams playing. So you might want to get yourself right. All right. As always, stay safe. We appreciate you. We'll see you next week. Peace.
See ya.
Ready?